Hello, Nikita here. I just wanted to let you know that we are one stop shop. You may be saying, who are we? Say How You Feel Custom T-shirts, Just You Soap Company, J2415 Photography, Deliciousness on the Move, and Expressive Boutique Plus Size Clothing. If you are ever in need of natural body products, Just You Soap Company, visit us at justyoussoapcompany.com. If you're ever in need of custom t-shirts, feel free to reach out by text to 615-779-2890 and we will definitely get you a quote. If you're ever in need of catering services, you can also reach out by text to 615-779-2890 or photography, the same number. Reach out by text to 615-779-2890. You can also inbox us or email us at the email addresses, provided in the description. As always, be blessed, be in peace, and remember to say how you feel.
Hey, how y'all doing? This is Will from Let It Make Sense and my lovely, beautiful co-host,
Nikita.
my wife. How y'all doing? If y'all want to know what we're going to be talking about today, stay tuned.
And we're back.
We back? We're back. We're back. Yes, we're back. Hey, how y'all doing? So what we talking about today?
So on today's episode, we're going to talk about should black men or women, join white fraternities and or sororities. Okay, that's the question. So basically, should black people join white fraternities or sororities? And this was inspired by an incident that actually happened in Middle Tennessee at Middle Tennessee State University. So what had happened
The
was,
other blue people.
uh, and I'm getting this from WKRN.com. I'll link the article, or we'll link the article in the description box if you want to go read it yourself. But the headline says Black MTSU pledges faced racial discrimination threats from fraternity brothers, lawsuit says. So the fraternity is being sued. A former Middle Tennessee State University student is taking a fraternity to court, alleging he was subjected to racist hazing as he attempted to become a member. The lawsuit was filed on October 12, 2022 in a Nashville court and is based on incidents that began on October 14, 2021 within the Kappa Iota chapter of the Kappa Sigma fraternity at MTSU. In the lawsuit, the plaintiff specifically names 10 Kappa Iota members, who are all white, who allegedly targeted him and another black pledge with racial hazing. They are said to have been the only two black pledges in the class. It is alleged that the pledges were subjected to the following racial discrimination during the fraternity's rush period: being called the N-word by white fraternity brothers, threats of kidnapping, hanging, bounding, and having things thrown at them, having slave chants, i.e., old slave chants and antebellum field hand music played, discussion of the KKK. Those discriminatory acts are said to have also been accompanied by alcohol abuse and other hazing activities. One defendant is even alleged to have told the black pledges to respect our culture. And you know what type of frat you joined. Oh, I didn't hear that during when they said
I didn't hear
that
in the interview.
when they objected to their treatment according to the documents. And then it goes on to say that the lawsuit comes 7 months. This is interesting. So the lawsuit came 7 months after the Kappa Iota chapter was permanently expelled from the MTSU campus. So I could put a pin right there very quickly. Normally, when a fraternity or sorority is expelled or what's the word I'm looking for? They're not able to do activities on campus because suspended. That's the word I'm looking for. When they're suspended, when they're usually suspended, it's for a period of time. But these people have been permanently expelled. That means that don't try to recharter
At all.
at all. No comment. Well, let me go back. that chapter can't be on campus. Actually, they could recharter. They could
Under
come back
different letters.
under different letters. So, but that Kappa Iota will never be anywhere again from the M Tissue campus. I believe it's like that across Greekdom, no matter whether it's a Black Greek letter organization or
white or whatever.
Predominantly white organization. The chapter was punished by the National Kappa Sigma Office for violations of the Kappa Sigma Fraternity Code of Conduct, including hazing, underage drinking, and conduct unbecoming. So,
before we start, I gotta preface this with something.
Oh, let's see. Real quick, the plaintiff is looking for $15 million in compensation from the defendants. Okay, so that's that. That's this story is what prompted this conversation. The question: should Black men and women, boys and girls, because they're young people, right? This is an undergrad chapter. So should they join white fraternities and sororities? That's the question. This is the article that sparked it, and there you go. Now go ahead. I don't know what you're gonna say.
So I have to preface this with saying we both belong to organizations, and this in no way represents or what's the word I'm looking for?
This is what our opinions on this are just that our opinions. They do not represent the opinion or the thought process of the organizations that we are
proudly
a part of. That's it. Okay.
So now that disclosure was stated, let's get to it.
Okay. So before we start, what I wanted to do was just give you some history of fraternities. So and sororities. So the white fraternities and sororities are governed under the Pan-Hellenic Council. That's the PHC. Black Greek letter organizations are governed by the National Pan-Hellenic Council. And then, of course, they have their national or international body that governs them. So I hope that makes sense.
Now, we're saying when it comes to blacks, we're talking about
the Black Greek letter organization. That's the MPHC.
Yeah, the Divine Nine, because they got other.
Yeah, it's the Divine Nine. Okay. So the very first fraternity, Phi Beta Kappa, was founded in 1776 and was kept a secret. In 1831, they disclosed their secrets and bylaws. Today, some fraternities keep their traditions and constitutions secret, and some publish them. So I got that from the Appalachian State University website. And then from the local Wikipedia. In 1834, Delta Epsilon fraternity was founded at Williams College. Delta Epsilon was established as the nation's first open non-secret fraternity, and that it is still to this day does not maintain secret admonitions, hand clasps, etc. Okay, so in case you didn't know, fraternity comes from the Latin word frater, which means brother. Okay, so in the beginning, men and women organizations were called fraternity because that was the only word they had to describe their groups. So in the beginning, there were no Black Greek letter organizations as we know them today. Blacks were not a part of this type of collegiate organizations because they didn't go to school together. 1, 2, they were not permitted to join. Right? Okay. So in 1882, the Kappa Phi Beta women at Syracuse University began to call themselves a sorority at the suggestion of their advisor, who was a professor of Latin. And then so soror is the Latin word for sister, hence sorority. Okay, got that from the Appalachian people too, Appalachian State University. So again, African Americans were not permitted to join white organizations. Hence, on December 4th, 1906, at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York.
Actually, the Boule started before that.
I know, but I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
I knew that. I mean, I know that.
Well, I was just,
Right. But at any rate, okay. On December 4th, 1906, at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was founded. And the reason why I didn't mention the Boule was because the Boule was comprised of like doctors, lawyers, things like that. And what we're talking about are collegiate people. So all of these, the Black Greek letter organizations were all founded, as well as the other organizations, right? They were founded by college students, right? So, but the times that they found them for the Black Greek letter organizations, I admire that they had that within them to even do it, right? 1906, Cornell University, Alpha Phi Alpha. Then we have in 1908 at the illustrious Howard University. I have to say illustrious because Five of the 9 were founded there. Howard University, 1908, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Then we have 1911, January 5th, 1911, at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, November 17th, 1911, Howard University. Then we have Delta Sigma Theta, January 13th, 1913, Howard University. Then we have Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Blue, right?
January 9th, 1914, Howard University.
You already know I was going to do it.
And then we have Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, January 16th, 1920, Howard University. And then we have Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, November 12th, 1912, Butler University. And then the baby of the group, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated.
See, we didn't forget them. Matter of fact, I think we got their colors on today.
We do. We don't have brown, though. September 19th, 1963, at Morgan State University. So those are all of the Black Greek letter organizations there, the Divine Nine as it is. And so then we come back to what we're discussing today, but I wanted to give you some backstory, some history, and then we're going to come back around to this article that prompted the question. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, no. I was listening to you and reminiscing some things. But so we are all non-hazing organizations.
Right. Yes.
And they say they're non-hazing organizations as well.
Yes. And not saying that hazing has not happened, because it has, unfortunately, yes. Right? It has. But the NPHC took a stance in the 90s that every organization Black Greek letter organization would be non-hazing organizations. So they, are not to partake in any form of hazing. And the thing about it is that it happens, right, in organizations. And the issue with this is the racial undertone. You always hear about fraternities, that they do the drinking thing, whether it's water, liquor, whatever it is, you hear about it. And this is it. Like a couple of years ago, it happened somewhere else, where in a predominantly white fraternity, they had a drinking thing and the person died or something. So now this young man didn't die, but it's the racial undertone. So we looked up this, what is it, Kappa Iota?
I think so. We looked them up.
Kappa Sigma, I'm sorry. We looked up the Kappa Sigma fraternity on the local YouTube. And they had like a, was it? Like
a promotional type of video.
Promotional video. And they had African American young men in the video. So
a lot of them.
Okay, it was
compared to.
Right. So, they welcomed them in, but for whatever reason.
But hold on. Now I got to put a pin there.
Okay.
Because they welcomed them in, but you got to understand the context of what they were. You are now in Middle Tennessee. This is still the South. Let's just not be belligerent. Let's not be oblivious to where we're at. We're in Tennessee, okay? I'm not from here. I'm from California. So there are a lot of things that I was oblivious to when I moved here. Let's just be honest. We've had conversations about this, about certain things. What is it called? The flag, the rebel flag. Mm-hmm. We've had conversations. The Confederate flag. Mm-hmm. It didn't bother me because in California that was not a sign of racism. The racism that I saw were blue and brown. And if you're from LA, you understand what I'm saying. LA County Sheriffs and LAPD. About as racist as you can get. Unless you went up to Orange County, then you might not come back. But don't go up there and you'll be all right. So I never knew that was an issue or a hot button for people in the South. So my thing is, you're in the South. Why would you join, some?
Well, I can't even say that you're in the South.
Because so they were in the ones, the blacks in the organization were like up north and out west.
Okay, I don't know what you're.
So they were a little more accepting, a little more being to the sea.
Okay, so to me, again, what prompted the question is that they're at Middle Tennessee State University. So I went to their website to look to see who they have on campus in regards to Black Greek letter organizations. So, every organization has principles, they have their tenets and all those things. So, if you didn't feel any connection to Kappa Alpha Psi or Phi Beta Sigma or Omega Psi Phi, right now they don't have Iota Phi Theta on their campus. Alpha Phi Alpha is coming back in the spring, it looks like, or the fall of next year. But if you didn't identify with it, okay.
Cool.
But if you decided to join, and I hate to be
that
person, but if you decided to join a predominantly white organization, unfortunately, you have to have that. You have to have that sense. Somebody gonna say something, and it is what it is, because that's the world that we live in. It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter what century it is. That's gonna happen. Now, I will say this: there are a plethora of Black Greek letter organizations that not only have Caucasian people in them or white people in them, but different ethnicities, period, across the board, right? Because we don't care.
No.
Like, one of the founders of my sorority said that, Zeta woman, can be any color, basically, loosely saying what she quoted as saying. So that doesn't matter to us. But unfortunately,
to some,
in the society that we live in, there are some young people, because these are young people. These aren't even the adult people. These are young people that did this, right?
These are people who are 2 years old.
Right, that still feel some type of way, telling the young man to respect our culture, and what type of frat you join. Like, what you did, so just take it. And that is unfortunate. So, what do you think? Do you think that someone who doesn't look like the other people should join? Because the thing about it is that I won't say that someone that's not Black shouldn't attempt to join a Black Greek letter organization. Do you have scholarship? Do you have a mind for service? Do you have a mind for sisterhood, brotherhood, whatever the tenets are of the organization you're looking at? Do you have that? What drew you to it? What draws you to it? The connection that you have with it. Are you gonna do some work? Right, because at the end of the day, are you going to do some work? Because even though our organizations are not service organizations, because they're considered social organizations, and that's for the PHC and the NPHC, but we still do work. We still do community service and all of those things.
And give back.
Right, all of that stuff. So I think that I feel bad that the young man or young men, goes more than one, suffered this treatment. That was probably scary for them.
Well, my question
and what gives you the right to think that it's okay? You didn't have to take them. Well, I promise you didn't have to. When they were going through the rush process, you didn't have to give them an invitation.
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't really understand the rush process. That's something we don't have. Ours is not like that. But the question I beg to ask is, what type of in 2022?
Yeah.
How can you still feel a kind of way?
Yeah.
Going to an institution of higher education.
Yeah.
Dealing with understanding that in this society, in this day and age, we have to deal with people from multicultural people and different races and all these things. How can you still feel like, I can see if they were from the sticks. They from the hills. They don't get out very much. They don't come down. What's that movie? It's a TV show that came out right after Sons of Anarchy went off the air. I think it's called Outsiders. And it's about some hill people.
Oh,
and my boy from Sons of Anarchy was in it. The guy who played on Remember the Titans, who died at the end, he played in the show. And it's really about some people that was in the hills and they were in the sticks. They didn't come out much. I can see if you was them. Because all you do is mess with your sister and your cousin. And you don't know normal people. You don't know normal people.
I don't know about the people.
So then I can kind of gather that maybe you don't understand that you have to be respectful of other people and treat people how you want to be treated, or you have to deal with people on a certain level. But to be a rational thinking, I ain't gonna say normal, well, normal for lack of better words, sociable person, you're still thinking that it's okay to mistreat somebody?
How did you even form in your head that it was okay to say this stuff to people and then threaten somebody with kidnapping? That's a federal offense.
Yeah.
Hanging, bound, and having so you're throwing things at them.
Yeah.
And then my question is, so whoever it was that was doing it, because what did it say? That it was 15 people? that it named? I can't remember now.
I think they watched that movie.
I just read it. But at any rate, 10. What were the rest of y'all doing?
Who
and
watched
then
this?
Are all 10 of y'all, or all 10 of these members that did this, was that all the chapter, or was it some more people? How did you just stand by and watch them do this and think that it was okay? How come nobody said
they
we're gonna get in trouble? Yeah, so y'all, we're gonna get in trouble. We can't do this to these people. And again, you did not have to give them an invitation. Yeah. No matter whether you're PHC or NPHC, you get an invitation. You get invited. You didn't have to give them an invitation. I promise you didn't. You could just let them little people alone.
You didn't have to deal with them. You could have said, you know something? We don't, and I think a lot of times they
probably should have just avoided their table at the rush. They probably should have just waited until the other people started their process.
Well, see, I think part of the reason why they took them is because, and I don't know, and I say this loosely, but as I think about it, the reality of it is we don't have to accept you.
No.
And you can't sue me for not accepting you.
No.
I'm thinking maybe
No. Okay, so let's go back.
That's what I said.
So let me make this clear. In order for them to haze them, they had already accepted them. They were pledges.
Yeah.
They were pledges. That means that they went through the rush process, they got an invitation, and they took them in and then began to doing these things to them. Of course, nobody's going to do it before you get in. Duh.
So that means they paid their money.
They paid their money. So I paid you to call me a...
Out my name.
I did? Oh, no. Give me
See, but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
No.
How long... This is what I want to ask these young men. How long from the start of this abuse to the end of this abuse before it was either dealt with or handled? Because
the lawsuit was filed on October 12th. So over a year ago, the incidents happened.
No. I'm talking about
the incidents that began,
was it a week long?
On October 14th. They began on October 14th. See, here's the thing. What we've got to stop doing as a people, and I'm talking specifically about Black people right now. So let me I ain't trying to exclude nobody. I'm just saying right now, we as Black people, go back. Can I talk to my other brothers and sisters? How about we talk about Black people, Asian American people, my brown brothers and sisters, and I mean, if you're Mexicano, Latino, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Dominican, my Indian, brothers. Let me say something to you. It is not okay for people to say anything that offends you. See, they called them the N-word, and they probably just let it go. I'm serious, because unfortunately there are some Black people who will allow a white person or other to call them the N-word, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay, we cool, because we're whatever we are." It's my phone. Sorry, y'all. Because of whatever, right? So I'm just gonna let it slide. Okay, so you let that slide, but then they probably start playing the slave chants. Okay, it's a little weird. Why y'all playing this slave? Okay. Then they probably start threatening to kidnap, hang, and bound, and they start throwing stuff at them. Well, they probably started with the throwing stuff, and, it's a part of the process, so it's okay, because there's some people out here, young people out here, who actually want to get hazed, which is crazy, and they think that it's okay if they do a little haze. They do a little haze, and it's okay. But then they start saying they're going to kidnap you. It's a little weird. They're going to hang you. They're going to bound you. And then they start talking about the KKK. Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the KKK. Hold on. You've gone too far. Because, see, if the lawsuit, so 7 months prior to the lawsuit, which means that was this year, right? Because we're in the 10th month. So that was 7 months ago. Y'all, my math is off. What is 7 months ago? March. So March. Now, this happened in October of last year. In March of this year, they got permanently expelled. So that means the babies went and told the school they messing with us.
But that's what I'm saying. Was it how many days transpired from the first N-word?
I would say if it started on October 14th, they probably did it. It could have been a week, because I think the rush process, it goes pretty fast. And I say for them because if you go to the website and you read, like, our process is a process.
It's a little longer.
We do intake.
Yeah.
Okay. So their
process, learn some things.
They have a rush week. They you go to the stuff, they do the invitation, and then you start your process. But I think it's like a week or two or something,
Something
if
like that. But
So
here's my thing. The first time you called me that, the first time you threw something at me.
Excuse me, I'm not excusing anything.
The
And I'm still getting my letters.
Dude.
Because you
I'll
got
play
me in
with
here
you
now.
a little bit, but what I'm not doing is that. We're not
Right,
going
we don't do the N word. We're not. As a matter, we're not doing the N word. You're not threatening me with hanging. Baby. I'm black and we in the South. That's lynching.
Strange food.
I don't think we should be talking about this. I don't think you should be threatening me with the KKK and they down the street in Pulaski.
I'm
don't
gonna
do
put
that.
hands, boy. I'm gonna put paws on you.
That's not cute.
Because I don't know where you from. You might be from Pulaski.
You might be, because we're not doing this today.
No, I'm not even playing with you like that. That's not cute.
That's not. No. The answer is no.
The quickest thing I'm gonna find out is, okay, which one of y'all? Okay.
I want to ask these two young men why. Why did you decide?
You allow it? Why did you?
No. Why did you join? Why did you want to join that organization? Okay, so you identified with them.
I know why.
Okay, maybe you identified with them.
I can understand why they probably did it.
Okay.
Because I've heard people say.
Okay.
They joined because they felt the connections were better.
That's what I said. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Business wise.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's
but
my thing.
I'm not finna let you do this to me for some business connections.
And so as my wife said, sometimes you have to stop underestimating yourself. And when I mean yourself, I don't mean just you as an individual, but you as a culture. And start realizing that you can create opportunities and go that route before I go the route of allowing myself to. Because, we watched this movie, The Burning Sands, the other day, and it just kept running in their heads. Oh, it's mind over matter. No, look here.
You beating me.
Sometimes my
ribs,
mind is all I got, and that's all that matters. Because I'm not finna do that. There's certain things we're just not finna do. So, because here's the thing, it's only, I hear about these things, these hazing incidents. I hear about these people, even dying. And the question that always comes to my mind is, you as an individual did not know something inside wasn't feeling right? You as an individual didn't know that you didn't feel right about whatever they were doing? And at some point say, you know something? This ain't either, it's not for me, or because the whole hazing thing is about recognition and respect. But when does respect end and
you do not
reality
have to be,
set in to my life is in danger, I need to fix this situation? You
do not have to be belittled and degraded in order to be respected.
Exactly.
If you're joining an organization, no matter what it is, if you're joining an organization and that's what they go to, no, I don't have to be belittled in order for me to be respected or a part of this organization. You do not have to break me down mentally. When you join an organization, your thought process should change. It should enhance towards betterment of self and people, right? And not just people, not only just Black people, Black Greek Little Organization, not just that, but community totality, right? The world, right? Because that's the purpose of it. It's not just betterment of you, but betterment of people, betterment of society. You're joining the organization, and that's what you want to do. That's what you hope that you do. Of course, with the other things of, the networking aspect, and, maybe you get the internships, the alumni see, you can reach out to them. You get all of that stuff, the networking thing, of course. But if you take me from my element and make me feel bad as a person, if I have to undergo things like these babies did at MTSU with this organization, the answer to it is no.
I'm good.
I'm okay. If you decide to join a predominantly white organization, that's what you decide to do. If you felt like that you had the connection with them, whatever it was your reasoning was, and you decided to do it, that's fine. I think that you should be intelligent enough also to know that something like that, and if you feel like I'm ignorant for saying it, oh well. But I think you should
do what you do.
Know that something like this may happen when they're not in the quad with their table, in the rush process, while administration is watching and eyes are on them. What do they do when the door is closed?
Yep.
That's the question you want to ask. is what do they do when the door is closed? Because they didn't do this out on the campus yard. They did this when the door was closed. But they did it not only when the door was closed, but they did it on campus in that house they got on campus.
Exactly.
Because in the news, when you watch the news, they were taking the letters down from the building. So that's the question that you have to ask yourself is what do they do? Am I going to be the N-word? Am I going to be assaulted? Whatever it is. And I'm not saying that Black Greek organizations are perfect or anything like that.
So we've had our own issues.
Right, because they're, years, past or whatever, there's been issues, but you won't have that issue.
No.
And you won't have that issue no matter what ethnicity you are.
Nope.
How about that?
Because I can remember when I was an undergrad, we had not the chapter that I pledged or I had member intake with. I ain't gonna say pledge because pledge is outlawed. But the chapter that I had member intake with was at a theology college, you would say at the time. Now it's they do some other stuff. They liberal school. But when I transferred to state TSU, another HBCU, and joined another chapter, they had 2 white people come through while I was there, and I was cool with both. One of them was in my department. Matter of fact, Brayden was in my department, and the other one, I can't remember the name, but heck, I can't remember half the chapter's name because what? Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's about mutual respect. It's about remembering who. I'm from LA, and I did LA activities growing up. Did I go through some issues in LA? Yes, but it was always a mutual respect. I'm not going to allow you to mistreat me or disrespect me, especially not to the point where I feel belittled, I feel fear. Because if I feel fear, I'm going to react. It's just that simple. If you put a cat in a corner, what does the cat go do? He's coming out swinging. I don't understand. That's why I would love to have an interview with these young men and ask them what was going through your mind. How did you feel? What made you decide to do this? And what would you suggest this to anybody else? And I'm not saying all of predominantly white fraternities are like this at all. I'm not saying that. I have not really had a great dealing with them. I'll be honest with you. I went to, and here's the thing. I'll be honest. I went to 2 HBCUs, and I went to 1 PWI. I went to American Baptist, I went to TSU, and I went to Lipscomb. If you know anything about Nashville, you know what Lipscomb is. They predominantly white school and fully religious school. Now, I'm a preacher, so it didn't matter to me. But at the end of the day, they have their own ideology, their own thought process. And I didn't deal with the Greeks on that campus. I don't even know if they had Greeks on the campus.
I don't know if Lipscomb does or not.
I know we weren't on the campus, so I didn't really, whatever. But that's why I say at the end of the day, I have not had really experience with them. Every Greek organization, black or white, has had their issues with black, white, or Latino or whatever has had their issues
with hazing issues.
And,
so not definitely not sitting here saying that hazing doesn't happen. What I'm saying is that in Black Greek letter organizations, I have never seen with my own eyes or heard of
racial
this
undertone.
of this type and of hazing at all. Right. I think there's no place in Greekdom from the PhD to the NPhD to whatever. There is no place in Greekdom for racial hazing.
Especially
hazing at all, but racial hate. There was no need for this. Like, why? If you're not going to leave that where it belongs in the gutter, then don't accept African Americans or anyone else that's not white into your organizations. You shouldn't have given an invitation.
No.
Should black men, women join white fraternities, sororities? If that's what you want to do, if that's what you feel in your heart, go right ahead. I just think I want you to be cognizant of what you're doing and just be alert. Because unfortunately, these young men didn't think this was going to happen. And anything can happen anywhere. But specifically this, I think is sickening. extremely
Yep.
sickening that
Especially
they even thought that it was okay to do this. And then for you to do it, and that means you've done it before.
yeah.
That definitely means you've done it
You've
before
done
and
it
you've gotten
before.
away
You
with
may
it.
not have done it to people trying to join your organization. But you've
No,
done
no.
it to
I mean
people.
what I just said. That means that you've done it before to
Well,
people
the reason I
in your
said-
organization,
Well, yeah, maybe.
and they just didn't say anything. These young men said, "Hey, hold
I'm
on,
going to tell it.
I gotta go and tell my truth."
Yeah.
And they needed to do that because that shouldn't continue to go on. That is not, you're misrepresenting not only your organization, but you're misrepresenting the school as well.
And really, you're misrepresenting Panhandle Athletic Council. Because here's the thing. I'm going to assume that all of you are like
right.
this.
And
you
that's
know?
not fair to
That
the
may
other
not
people
be like that,
are,
but I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I have to worry about that.
yeah,
Or that's a
not
thought
cool.
process for me. So I think that ultimately, we as people, black, white, whatever, need to understand that the days of we have to reevaluate how because racism. Is it really? We don't have to all. I ain't saying we got to sing kumbaya. I ain't saying we all got to deal with each other.
Just be respectful
You
and cordial.
do you, we do we, and leave it at that. If that's the case,
Are you going to threaten to hang yourself? Are you going to throw stuff at yourself? Are you going to call yourself a derogatory word? Well, you're not loving yourself. That's sad.
Because let's just be honest.
But if you're not going to do it to yourself, don't do it to anybody else.
What the young people like to say? My grandparents, black people, are over it. Everybody ain't finna sit here and just let you mistreat them. Everybody ain't finna be scared of you. Everybody ain't finna, and we have to be. That's why you have to learn to respect one another. Because somebody out there is gonna, they're gonna call you bluff. Unfortunately, and that looks like what happened here. They be okay. I'm gonna show you, and they want this 15 million. They gonna get it, probably not, but they definitely gonna get something. They'll settle out of court. Let's just be real about it. Ain't nobody crazy enough to believe they're not. But you took something where you were going to gain finances, and now you're gonna lose finances.
Well, actually, they may get the 15 million. The reason why I say that is because this is not a criminal lawsuit. This is a civil lawsuit, and they are alleging abuse, suffered emotional distress, mental anguish, anxiety, fear, degradation, humiliation, and depression, which forced him to leave the university and the state as well. So you didn't just do this and no.
So is it both of them suing or just one?
It says the plaintiff. So I think it was two of them, but one of them is suing.
So here's the thing. The reason why I say that, because the fraternities, they're smart.
And if they don't get 15 million, they're going they gonna get more than $2.
Oh no, they're gonna get some money. This is what's gonna happen. I can pretty much bank on it.
You forced him to leave his education, and to say like you've done a number on him. Like you got him thinking that you really gonna confine him and hang him.
They're gonna get paid.
And it's a civil lawsuit. So
they got insurance
all
for
you
it.
have to be able to do in a civil lawsuit is punitive damages. So that's all you have to be able to prove. Well, if he's been to therapy, there you go.
But I'm saying that what I mean by that is, one, they have insurance. But
I'm not a lawyer, by the way.
Me neither. But just been around enough court cases, they're not even going to take this to trial. The fraternity itself is going to say, hey, they got a gang of lawyers, I'm sure, that are they frat brothers, and they're going to tell them, look, hey, y'all need to go ahead and plead this out. This never needs to see the inside of a courtroom. So it's probably never going to see, just to be honest, it's probably never going to see the inside of a courtroom. It's only going to probably be right there, whatever.
If they don't get the 50, if they settle without going before a magistrate or judge or whatever, he'll get maybe 2 to 5.
Yeah, he definitely get 40, and I don't think he really wants. You always go higher.
And in this day and age, I be saying stuff about this ain't gonna happen, that may happen, this and that. But honey, the way the world is, this stuff is crazy. They got the man for the $1 billion for talking about Sandy Hook.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
I don't know no more.
He might.
No more.
If they take it to trial, he getting the 15 million.
And I'm not saying I agree with the man. I just can't believe
I can't believe they did.
You gotta give him $1 billion.
Like he got $1 billion somewhere.
But at any rate, I don't know what he got. But at any rate, at the end of the day, leave your comment below. Do you think that black men and women should join predominantly white fraternities and sororities. My end answer is, if that's what's in your heart, do you just be vigilant and understand what you are getting into, what you're doing, because I don't want anyone else to suffer like this young man did. And yes, that's what I gotta say.
As far as I'm concerned, the way I look at it is this: do it make you feel good, but at the end of the day, what's your why? And that's what you got to live with, because you got to live with it. At the end of the day, what's your why? Is there a reason why you would prefer to join a predominantly white fraternity versus a predominantly black fraternity? And if you can live with the answers, then hey, do what you do. That's on you. So I ain't got a problem either way. I'm cool with you. You know. So with that being said, as far as I'm concerned, just let it make sense.
Be sure to leave any comments you have down in the comment section. Be sure that it's okay to disagree without being disrespectful. Remember that. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your mama and them, and engage. Let us know what you think. We would love to know what your response to be with this. Let's have some respectable dialogue. And yeah, that's all I got. Be blessed, be in peace, and let it make sense.
Peace.